Hey, I'm so glad you're here. You typed release, and I want you to know that word means something. It means some part of you is done fighting your body, done starting over, done wondering why nothing is working when you're doing everything right. And before we go any further, I want to say something that nobody in the health and fitness space is going to say to you. It is not your fault. Now, I know you've heard that before, and I know part of you doesn't believe it. Because if it's not your fault, why does it keep happening? Why does the weight come back? Why do you sabotage when things are going well? Why does your body hold on no matter how clean you eat, no matter how hard you work? That is exactly what this video is going to answer. By the time you finish watching this, you are going to understand something about your body and your nervous system that changes everything. Not because I'm going to give you a new diet, not because I'm going to give you a new workout plan, but because I'm going to show you why your body doesn't feel safe enough to let go. And when we fix that, everything else finally works. My name is Colin Watson. I'm a body transformation and nervous system regulation coach. I want to be clear about that distinction. I am not a personal trainer. I don't just put people through workouts. What I do is help people understand the root cause of why their body is holding on to weight and release it at the identity level. I've been doing this work for over 2 decades. I've coached individuals, couples, executives, athletes, and everyday people who were doing everything their doctor told them and still could not move the needle. And what I've learned through my own journey, through thousands of hours of coaching, through the science and the lived experience, is that the body is not the problem. The body is the messenger. My methodology, the Soul Body Mind Fit method, is built on one core truth. You cannot out-train, out-eat, or out-supplement a nervous system that is bracing for impact. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a period in your life, maybe a vacation, maybe a really good stretch where the weight just came off? You weren't even trying that hard. You were relaxed, you were sleeping, you were actually enjoying yourself, and the weight moved. But then you came home, or something happened in your relationship, or at work, or with your family, and the weight came back. That is not a willpower problem. That is not a metabolism problem. That is a nervous system problem. Here's what's happening inside your body when you're stressed, overwhelmed, or emotionally dysregulated. Your body activates what we call the survival response. Cortisol spikes, inflammation rises. Your body starts hoarding fat, specifically around the midsection, because it's preparing for a threat. It doesn't know the threat is your boss. It doesn't know the threat is that argument with your spouse. It doesn't know the threat is the shame you've been carrying since you were a child. It just knows it's not safe, and it holds on. And here's the part that nobody is telling you. That emotional weight, the unprocessed grief, the chronic stress, the old stories, the identity level beliefs about who you are and what you deserve, that emotional weight becomes physical weight. Your body is not betraying you. Your body is protecting you. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem is the threat isn't real anymore, and nobody has taught you how to signal to your nervous system that it is safe to let go. Until now. Let me walk you through exactly how we work, because I want you to understand this is not a program, this is a process, and it works in 3 interconnected layers. The first layer is the body, physical optimization. We start with the body, but not where most programs start. We don't start with a meal plan. We start with data. Every client in our program goes through a comprehensive metabolic and lab assessment. We look at your hormonal profile, testosterone, estrogen, cortisol, thyroid, insulin resistance. We look at your metabolic rate, how your body is actually burning fuel right now. We look at your inflammatory markers, what's silently working against your fat release. We look at your nutrient deficiencies, what your body is missing that's keeping it stuck. This is a medically supervised program. We work with your labs. We track your metabolic profile. We don't guess, we measure. One of the most powerful tools in our physical protocol is what we call ACG. ACG works by signaling the body to access stored fat as a fuel source, while simultaneously supporting the hormonal balance that most weight loss programs completely ignore. When your hormones are balanced and your body is being fueled correctly, your metabolism stops fighting you. This alone produces results that most people have never seen, even after years of trying. But here's what I need you to understand. If we only fix the body and we don't fix what's underneath, the weight comes back every time. That's why we go deeper. The second layer is the mind, nervous system regulation. This is where everything changes. Your nervous system has 2 primary states. State 1, safe to thrive. This is when you feel calm, connected, resourced. You sleep well, your digestion works, your hormones regulate, your body releases fat naturally because it is not in survival mode. State two, bracing for impact. This is chronic stress, hypervigilance, fight, flight, or freeze. This is your nervous system running a constant background program that says, danger is coming. Hold on to everything you have. Most people who struggle with their weight have been living in state two for years, sometimes decades. And it is not because they are weak, it is because nobody taught them how to regulate. In our program, we teach you a nervous system regulation practice that rewires your baseline. We work with somatic awareness, learning to read your body's signals before they become a crisis. Breath and movement protocols that actively shift your physiology out of survival mode. The emotional processing frameworks that help you move through stress instead of storing it. An identity recalibration, changing the deep story your nervous system runs on. Because here's the truth about identity and weight. Your body will always find a way to return to what feels familiar. If deep down you believe you're someone who struggles, someone who can't maintain, someone who always falls off, your body will make that true. Every time. Not because you're broken, but because your nervous system is incredibly loyal to the identity it was trained to protect. We change the identity, and the body follows. The third layer is the soul. Emotional block release. This is the work most programs never touch, and it is the reason most programs fail. I want to ask you something direct. Is there something you've been carrying, grief you haven't processed, a relationship that hurt you in ways you've never fully talked about, a version of yourself you were told you couldn't be, a childhood that didn't feel safe, an adult life that moved too fast and never let you heal? I'm not asking to go deep on your pain right now. I'm asking because the research is clear and my 20 plus years of coaching have confirmed it over and over again. Unprocessed emotional weight becomes physical weight. The body keeps the score, and it holds on to what hasn't been felt, named, and released. In our program, we use a framework I developed called the emotional block release process. We identify the specific emotional patterns, the triggers, the stories, the survival strategies that are keeping your nervous system in protection mode. We name them, we trace them. And then, with specific tools and practices, we release them, not through years of therapy, not through reliving every painful moment, but through a structured, supported process that moves your body and your emotions through what's been stuck. When that happens, and I've watched this hundreds of times, the body lets go, not slowly, not grudgingly. It lets go with relief because it's been waiting for permission. Now I want to talk to you directly for a second. You've probably tried a lot of things. You've done the diets, you've hired the trainers, you've bought the programs, the apps, the supplements, and some of it probably worked for a while. But here's what none of those programs addressed: why you went back. Because the sabotage is not random. The moment you start making progress and something in you finds a reason to stop, that is not weakness. That is your nervous system doing exactly what it was trained to do. It got uncomfortable with change. It got uncomfortable with visibility. It got uncomfortable with the version of you that was emerging, because that version was you and familiar. We don't just give you tools to lose weight. We give you tools to keep it off because we change who you are in relationship to your body. That is the difference. Let me tell you what our clients actually experience. Not what they hope for, what they actually get. Physically, clients release significant body fat, often in places they've been stuck for years. They see improvements in energy, sleep, inflammation, and hormonal balance confirmed by their LABs. Men see testosterone normalize, women see their cycles regulate. Both see the scale move in ways it hasn't moved in years. Emotionally, clients describe a kind of lightness that goes beyond physical weight. They stop white knuckling their habits. They stop the cycle of perfection and collapse. They develop a relationship with their body that isn't a fight anymore. Relationally, and this surprises people, their relationships change because when you regulate your own nervous system, you stop reacting, you stop absorbing other people's chaos. You show up differently at home, at work, in your most important relationships. And at the identity level, they stop seeing themselves as someone who struggles with their weight. They become someone who lives in their body with confidence, ease, and ownership. That shift is permanent because it's not based on what you're eating. It's based on who you've become. Now, I want to tell you exactly what happens when you book a call with me, because I want you to know what you're walking into and what you're not. This is not a high pressure sales call. I am not going to chase you. I'm not going to use tactics. Here's what the discovery call actually is. It's a conversation to determine FE. I'm going to ask you real questions about where you are, what you've tried, what's working and what isn't, and what you actually want your life to look like. I'm going to listen, not to pitch you, but to understand your specific situation. And then I'm going to be honest with you. If I believe our program is the right fit, I'm going to tell you that, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it looks like to work together. If it is not the right fit, I'm going to tell you that too. What I've found is this: by the time most people get on a call with me, they already know they've done enough. They've tried enough. They're tired of starting over. And they are ready, finally, to do the thing that actually addresses the root. If that is you, I want to talk to you. Let me address the things that might be coming up for you right now, because I've been doing this long enough to know what they are. First, you might be thinking, I've tried everything. What makes this different? Here's my honest answer. Most programs work on the surface. Calories, macros, movement, and those things matter. But if you've been doing all of that and the weight still isn't moving, then the problem is not the surface. The problem is what we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes. Your nervous system, your emotional patterns, your identity. That is what we address. That is why this works when other things haven't. Second, is this medically safe? Yes. This is a medically supervised program. We start with your labs. We track your metabolic profile throughout. Everything we do with your physical protocol is based on your actual data, not a generic plan. You are seen as an individual, not a formula. Third, I don't know if I have time for this. I want to gently push back on that. You've been carrying this for years. The cost of not addressing it in energy, in health, in confidence, in the quality of your life, that is a cost you are already paying. Our program is designed for real people with real lives. We build the practices into your day in ways that are sustainable, not overwhelming. What does it cost? That's a conversation for our call, because what we do is customized to you. What I will say is this: we are not the cheapest option. We're also not the option where you spend 6 months, make no real progress, and wonder what happened. If you're looking for cheap, there are plenty of apps for that. If you're looking for a transformation that actually sticks and you're willing to invest in yourself at that level, then we should talk. I'm afraid I'll fail again. I want to sit with that one for a second, because that fear is real and I respect it. Here's what I want you to understand. The version of you that kept failing was doing the best they could without the right tools. The problem was never your effort. The problem was the frame. We changed the frame, and when the frame changes, the outcome changes. Here's where we are. You came here because something in you said, it's time. You typed release, and that was your body already telling you what it needs. I've spent the last 20 minutes breaking down exactly what we do, how we do it, and why it works. Now, there is only one question left. Are you ready? If the answer is yes, even if it's a scared yes, I want you to click the link below and book your discovery call. It's free. It's one conversation, and it could be the conversation that changes everything. I've watched people walk into that call carrying decades of frustration and walk out with a clarity and a direction they hadn't felt in years. That is available to you right now. Book your call. Come as you are. Bring your questions, your skepticism, your history. I've seen it all. And I'm not here to judge any of it. I'm here to help you finally get free. I'll see you on the call.